The RE4 Remake is looking to be one of the top games of this year, and with the release date right around the corner, in this video I will be going over everything you need to know about the game. So with that being said, let's get right into it. The RE4 Remake is set for a release date of March 24th and will be available on the PS4, PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X at launch. In an interview, the producers stated that they want to continue RE4's legacy of porting this remake to all future hardware, so the RE4 Remake will eventually be available on all platforms. Also, the RE4 Remake will include a VR mode, which will be free DLC available at launch. As for the additions, the remake will include the three typical options, being the Standard Edition, the Deluxe Edition, and the Collector's Edition. If you pre-order the Standard Edition, you will get the game, a free digital mini soundtrack, a gold attaché case, and a handgun ammo weapon charm. There will be multiple types of cases and weapon charms in the game, and each will grant a unique trait. For example, I believe the gold case you get for pre-ordering grants you a multiplier for how much money you obtain from enemies, and I believe the handgun charm grants a higher probability of an enemy dropping handgun bullets after being defeated. When we move on to the Deluxe Edition, you will get a digital mini soundtrack, the gold case and handgun ammo charm, as well as a green herb charm and a classic case. This version also contains 4 different costumes, with 2 of them granting the option to change the game filter. So as you can see, this villain costume will change the filter to an ominous red, and the hero costume filter looks like it could be some sort of old film screen. Aside from all that, the Deluxe Edition will also include 2 new weapons, which is a new pistol and a new shotgun, as well as a treasure map expansion, a Leon sunglasses accessory, and an original version soundtrack swap. Lastly, we have the Collector's Edition, which will include everything from the previous versions, as well as a steelbook case, a Leon Kennedy figure, an art book, a special map, a digital soundtrack, and a collector's box. Unfortunately, the Collector's Edition sold out pretty much instantly, so the only way you're going to be able to get it now is from scalpers on eBay. One thing I found fascinating about all of the gameplay we have seen so far is the fact that it seems like they're pretty much bringing back all of the old gameplay mechanics we love, like the roundhouse kick and suplex. But on top of that, they're adding even more interesting gameplay mechanics to give the player even more variety to fend off enemies. Firstly, the game will now be incorporating stealth. As we've seen in the gameplay, there will be many times where you will be given the opportunity to sneak past enemies or perform stealth kills with your knife. There is also a newly added crossbow weapon that can be used to stealth kill enemies. Though it hasn't been revealed yet, I personally wouldn't be surprised if the game includes a suppressor attachment for some guns, because the game really seems to be going hard on stealth. Another major gameplay change is the newly added parry mechanic. When enemies go to attack Leon, the player has the opportunity to block the attack with the knife and follow up with an attack of their own. This mechanic in specific will be very useful during the first encounter with Krauser, since the remake will be doing away with most QuickTime events, meaning that the first Krauser encounter will be an actual boss fight where you can only use your knife. Aside from parrying, we also have seen in the gameplay that the player also has the ability to evade enemy attacks in some situations. The last thing I want to talk about here is the weapon storage and inventory management. In the remake, the player will have access to the weapon storage case, and now the save typewriters will act as item boxes. So now if you are out of space in your briefcase, you can now store items and weapons in the item box. There is also a newly added weapon wheel, so instead of opening the weapon case to switch weapons, you can now quickly select your desired weapon in the weapon wheel. Lastly, there will be a newly added crafting system where you can combine certain materials to make certain items like herbs or ammunition for your weapons. One of the things that was lacking from the original RE4 was its story, but luckily in the remake, Capcom has said that they will be putting much more emphasis in it. There will be many changes as well as new additions to the story, and they will also be expanding the roles of the side characters in the game. One big change we just saw from the most recent trailer showed that Luis will survive a lot longer and will partner up with Leon a lot more, as we saw the 2 of them team up in the Mines chapter of the castle. I personally feel like the story will be one of the biggest changes, just because it was something that was lacking from the original. Up until this point, we have received a lot of gameplay and trailers that revealed many iconic things that will be returning from the original. From the village, we have seen the El Gigante, Dr. Salvador, Del Lago, Chief Mendez, the dogs, and the Bella sisters, which will apparently be present during the Mines chapter. In the castle, we've seen the Garradors, the Novistadors, the double El Gigante fight, as well as Salazar and his 2 guards. From the island, we've seen Jack Krauser and Sadler. Out of everything revealed, we have yet to see JJ, the minigun guy, the armored Garrador model, the U3 boss on the island, and the iconic regenerators. But since we have seen pretty much everything return, I do expect to see these unrevealed enemies as well. Throughout the gameplay, we have also seen many iconic weapons returning, including the Red 9, the TMP, the semi-auto sniper, and many others. Another thing to mention is how a lot of these areas look almost identical. The main village area, the church, the catapult area in the castle, and the water room are all examples of this. And then you have some areas like the first cabin in the remake that will be returning but will be heavily expanded upon. In my opinion, this is a very good sign that we probably won't see much of anything get cut and instead see some new additions to the remake. One of the bigger changes in the remake is how Ashley will be incorporated. The player will still escort her in a similar manner, but there will be many new mechanics implemented to make the escorting experience much better. By clicking the right analog stick, Leon can tell Ashley to keep close or to maintain some distance. You can no longer command her to stop, she follows no matter what. That means no more ditching her in a safe spot to clear out enemies lying ahead like in the original RE4. Capcom wants Ashley to stay by Leon's side because realistically, she would never want to be left alone in such a dangerous environment, so they're basically trying to take a more realistic approach with this. Ashley also lacks a health bar in the remake. Absorbing too many hits drops her in a down state where players must revive her. If she's struck while vulnerable, it's game over. She can still get scooped up and carried away by enemies too, which also results in failure if they get too far from Leon. Thankfully, Leon can still stop this by either shooting the enemy or, in a new twist, hitting a close range execution like plunging his knife into the enemy's neck. Though this does mean you'll have to keep a more constant eye on Ashley, she repays this by pulling her weight more. The RE4 remake features more tag team focused environmental obstacles, such as sending Ashley through crawl spaces to unlock doors from within. These co-op barriers can be found long before you rescue Ashley, which gives players a reason to revisit these areas now that they can access them with Ashley's help. Another major tweak to Ashley is her personality, as her character will now be more serious and believable when compared to the original. And one final thing to note is the fact that Ashley can now climb down ladders herself. So as for the DLC, so far the only thing that has been confirmed is the Mercenaries game mode, which unfortunately won't be available on launch day, and will instead come out later in the year. As for Ada's campaign, nothing has really been said just yet. However, it has been said that Ada will have a similar role in the remake, so I would assume that we will be seeing it return. And lastly, in the gameplay with Krauser, Leon mentioned Operation Javier, which was a mission the two of them went on together. Because this was in the gameplay, a lot of people have been speculating that we could see some DLC for that, but as of now, it's kind of just up in the air. And there you have it. That was everything you need to know about the RE4 remake. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.